We're here, the Lone Wolf, senior co-host Chet Nicholson. The show is Strike Force News, coming out of Alternative Public Radio International. If you want to check our website out, it's all lowercase alternativepublicradiointernational.com. We're streaming live from Restream on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and soon to be many more. So you guys tune in, be sure and share the show, hit the like button if there are any, and use our embed code to stream live from some of your platforms and pages and groups, and encourage your friends to do the same. Really appreciate all of our fans and supporters out there, and just sit back and enjoy the show. Thank you all very much, and we'll turn it over to the live show now. Hey, everybody. 6:02 p.m. on the Pacific clock. And Marion might be able to work with him, Chad, on that 6/7/2023. Marion, our guest, is having trouble getting in. He's not able to connect. Can you go to him and help him, or have you already hopefully figured all that out? Are you friends with him? Have you already done all that? Is that done? Is that okay? Okay, so she's working on it. Our producer's working on it with him. We'll try to pull him in. We've never had a problem like that before. Everybody's always been able to just pop right in. Ladies and gentlemen, we're having a little trouble getting our guest that Chad discovered, this new talent here, this new guest that's coming on tonight. We're trying to get him in. Well, we will. It's been an interesting day. As many of you know, I've been sick. Many of you have been emailing me and PMing me, and it's just been wonderful to all of the love and y'all have been pouring out on me. So man, it's I appreciate it. I really do. Like I said, I went into like arrested yesterday and had a seizure. Marion did some real funky kind of new age CPR I've never seen before on me. She did a backflip and pulled me backwards on top of her, and it was really weird. She was doing compressions and all kinds of stuff, and my heart, I think I had an arrhythmia of some kind, and she bounced me back into a normal sinus rhythm and got me breathing again. And then her eyes rolled back in my head. I didn't know where I was, and I didn't know who she was. And thought I was in, I thought I was in East Texas. And then she finally started crying and was really worried and kept asking me, should I call an ambulance? And I was like, hell no. Are you crazy? I don't want this. Well, I'm not going to say that on air. I don't want to get nobody in trouble, but I definitely didn't want an ambulance, you know. But we got me back, and obviously I'm back. Here I am, Chad. How's it going, Chad?
Good, brother. Good, man. Just living a dream, I guess you could say. you know, uh, Metaphorically.
Yeah, well, you've got this helping your friends out with this new position. They needed you and to come in and do some Top Gun work. And as you know, and everybody knows, zombies are everywhere, and nobody can find any help. And Chad and I are out there to help people when they need help, and that's what Chad's doing. He walked into a corporation, and we won't say who or where just yet until we have permission. But he's walked into a corporation, and he's helping them to kind of do what needs to be done. And Chad's very responsible and on the ball and very focused, and so they're just showering him with love and compassion and goodness, and that's great for him. And I'm proud of you, Chad, very much, and I hope your success continues there with
Thank you,
your
brother.
little timeline that you're on.
Appreciate that. Really do.
Can you ask your friend what kind of problems he's having getting on? Marion Pound is trying to contact him, tell him to communicate with Marion Pound if you can. She has what is your icon? If he has to friend you or something. Are you already his friend? You're following. She's following him. He wouldn't allow. It's a picture of her with the owl. Tell him,
Yeah.
yeah, and tell her it wouldn't allow a friendship, but it would only allow a follow, which is not really going to be good for us. He has the proper code. I'm thinking, right? Everybody, did Mary? Okay, Mary's
He
checking.
said he set
Mary's
up a restream account.
he set up
So
a restream account.
yeah,
He saw okay. He saw Mary now. They're communicating. I think talking to my co-pilot over here, and this part of my engineer.
playing
Okay,
engineer.
well, everybody, we have had some really crazy shows. I tell you, the last few weeks, it's really insane. I mean, it's hard for me to even grasp myself, to tell you the truth. Some of the things that have come out of our mouth in the last couple of weeks just have been beyond our own comprehension. But this stuff is channeled from me. Chad doesn't channel yet, but I'm trying to teach him how to. I can't. My God, probably gonna scare me to death when he starts channeling. But I channel these shows. I'll pop into a channel every once in a while. My audience knows, my fans know me. But I've been doing some really crazy stuff. But it could not get any crazier. Chad and I could not get any crazier, out crazy the crazy that's going on in the crazy simulation or the crazy matrix or the crazy world. I mean, there's no way we could outpace that. And the shit that we're talking about, you just can't make it up. I mean, today I'm looking around and I find out that now the American Pediatric Association and the American Health Association, along with the American Medical Association, along with the World Health Organization, they're going to stop putting male and female on the birth certificate. They're not going to allow it anymore. So this is like, when I heard this, I almost had a wreck. I thought I was going to run off the road and hit a column. I was, it was like, what? I mean, how much crazier, how much more insane could it possibly get? I mean, to me, this isn't, I'm not talking about evil. I'm talking about morals. I'm not talking about principles even. It's just, it's comical.
Yeah, that's the easiest way to put it because it's all laughable now because you see what's coming on, and people are still falling for it. Like
I mean,
hand over fist. It's ridiculous.
parents, you would think, unless there's some major mind control operation going on, like you and I suspect, Chad, you would think that parents would be in the streets in the millions right now saying, hell no. I mean, all these major agencies are doing it. These are government agencies that are doing it. These are some of the most powerful agencies and entities in the world that are putting this kind of shit out. I mean, you can't make this shit up.
No, I wish we could. If we could make this stuff up, man, we would be millionaires. We'd have the best story ever wrote. Like I can't even sit and try to think of any of this because it's just so far fetched anymore.
I mean, who whispered in their ear? And now Marjorie Greene's back on my good list again. They even psyoped me away from Marjorie. And now Marjorie's come out now and they've presented evidence to the FBI. They've presented evidence to the prosecutors. They've presented evidence to the Security Council that Biden has taken millions of dollars from foreign entities in trade for special favors and policy. We got a video here. There we go. We got Bill on. Let me finish up here, Bill, and then we'll get you introduced. Bill, just give me a second here. Hi, Bill. How you doing?
Hey, how y'all doing out there?
Good, real good. Let me finish this up, and then I'll let Chad introduce you, and I'm gonna let Chad kind of take the lead horse here for a while. But as I was saying, these all of these major organizations, are now not allowing the birth certificate to say male or female, which Chad and I were saying you can't make this shit up. I mean, to me, it's comical. All I can see is Comedy Central here, folks. It's with me. It's not an ethical issue or a moral issue, or to me, as a scientist and a sociologist, and as someone who's getting a PhD in sociopsychology and physics and all of these other. I have a degree in emergency medicine. You can't make this shit up. It's comical. I mean, some of the most powerful organizations in the world are doing this, along with a lot of other crazy shit that I'm sure Bill is going to bring us tonight. I mean, we can't make this shit up, ladies and gentlemen. This is gonna be. It's just like I almost had a wreck, Bill. I almost had a wreck. Marianne tells me this today. I'm on the road, and she's like, "Oh, they're not going to be putting, you know, male or female on the birth certificate anymore." And I'm like, "What?"
Well, that's why you tell you not. That's why they tell you not to be on your phone or be listening to the radio while you're driving.
Yeah. Chad, you want to give a little intro on Bill and y'all?
Yeah. This is a good friend of mine, Bill. I've watched him for a while. This man knows his thing. If you want to know about living off the grid and getting back to in tune with nature and living off the land, this is the man you need to talk to. This man goes out at night. He hunts mushrooms and everything. Like, this man will teach you what nature truly is about. He's truly off the grid. He's truly his own man. Like, the society doesn't control this man, and it's actually an honor to be friends with this man. How you doing today, brother?
Hey, we're doing good today. I'm in a very good day, like I was telling you earlier, and I just want to, if you don't mind, I'm not trying to. You'll never find me like debating talking points, but that is a good old saying, and it happens to me a bunch, and I'll be like, man, you can't make this shit up. But guess what? They can. I want to see the proof on all of this before I get it. You know, I get all hyped up, wreck my car, and almost get me a wreck. I mean, and I'm not saying anybody is wrong in this, or this is where they're going. Matter of fact, they'll throw things out there. You know, Biden threw out the mandate bullshit, saying that they had made a federal mandate when they never even had any paperwork. It never crossed any desk or anything. There's no signature on any paper or executive order saying there was a mandate. The media ran with that, and the corporations backed it up. So, see, they are pushing this depopulation agenda, which they've lit the candle at both ends. See, you got the birth rates like 80% under normal, and the death rate spiking, especially the 18 to 40-year-olds. And the 18 to 40-year-old range, that's the people that's having the babies, you know, for the most part. And but there you go. And so they will say DC is nothing but a puppet show, and we're still under FEMA rule. I challenged that today when I was talking when Trump signed the Stafford Act March 13, 2020, and put FEMA in control of the country. He turned around and gave him 16,000 crack Northern Command troops. Well, that took the executive branch out of the game, and the judicial branch. All three branches of the government are now on hold, and FEMA's running the nation. It's supposed to go before a Congress every 6 months, and it has, and they did nothing about it. They have not unsigned it. They have said they've dropped the state of emergency, which I think they're fixing to throw back on New York because it's covered in orange smoke. But there you go. I mean, we're under FEMA rule, and propaganda was made legal in 2012, so they can lie to us like motherfuckers. And I'm just going to be honest about that. They can say what they want, and they can use national security as a guise. But wow, if we ain't figured it out by now, when Putin said in 92 that he was going to buy the executive branch and a few key seats in the Senate and use the up-and-coming social media to cause division in America with shit like racism and flat earth, he wasn't joking, and he did it. The BRICS alliance now controls the petrodollar, which is, it's not the petrodollar, it's the digital petro yen. That is your indicator, top indicator of who is the enforcer for the New World Order. So the elite have these people running the show for them. Thank goodness China's really only worried about the Chinese, and there's no army ever can leave any of our countries right now because of the volatile nature of this robbery that they tried to pull off, well, they did pull off. Look where all the money and the corporations went. They went to China, and then look at how everything for over the last, well, the 4 years that we've had a president, because Biden is president-elect, but he has no power because FEMA's in control according to the Stafford Act. All right, that's why you've seen nothing come from them. And we couldn't make the mandate to make us go to get the jab or wear a mask, and he couldn't do that shit with OSHA. They just did it. They went right along with it. So what does that tell you? They're complicit. They're in on it. Anybody that got rich or played this game, they're in on it. They need to fucking hang, and that's for treason, though. That's not because I don't like them, or that's pretty well known. I don't think nobody cares for these bastards, even though some of them are worshiping Elon Musk and wow. But that's the law of the land of the world. What they've done is treason, and we're gonna have to do something about that. But I ain't trying to take the whole thing. I'm just trying to say I agree with you. You can't make some of this shit up, but I believe they can. And then and by laws that they've made since 2012, actually since September 11th, they can do it legally.
Look how out of control executive orders have gotten, over the past few years. Look how wildly out of control they've gotten by just going and signing this and signing that without the American people having any say so whatsoever in it. They've gotten so used to it, and the American people have gotten so complacent with it. It's like nobody's even really noticing anymore, except people like us. We notice, we know what's going on, but the general population, they don't really care. These things are being signed. Oh, sign this. Oh, sign this. Sign this. Sign this. Or they'll wait till Christmas Eve night and pull some big shit. And they'll go in and sign some. Or Halloween or whatever. I'm just saying. It's kind of a metaphor, like you said. But the WHO is in control now with FEMA. The World Health Organization has been put in control. And then today, one of my lieutenant colonels called me, who I used to be special ops with, and told me about Biden. They have got tons of evidence now that Biden and his son and his whole family have received millions and millions and millions of dollars from these other countries and made deals with them, and they've affected the elections or the appointments. We don't have elections. Presidents are not elected, folks. Please, I'm sorry I said that. Forgive me. They're all appointed. But Biden's been taking all these payoffs along with Obama and along with Bush and the others, and the American public's like, oh well, whatever. It's just a corrupt government. Who cares? And this is the reason we're in this shithole that we're in right now. Is everybody has become so complacent and distant, and if you will, all of the from MK Ultra prior to MK Ultra on, with all the mind control and the fluoride and the nanoparticulates and the nanobots and the graphene oxide and the CRISPR and the luciferius and the sinus storm and all of the other technologies that have gone into this bioweapon and have created all of these excess deaths, by giving people the ivermectin and all of the other, not the ivermectin, I'm sorry, the other one, you know what it is, Bill, the one I'm talking about that helped the respiratory system to fail and give everybody double pneumonia and just go ahead and take them out. They wouldn't let them have ivermectin. They wouldn't let them have the other drug. But I find out now that hospitals have been paid billions and billions and billions to sign. I actually talked to two medical examiner friends of mine who said, "Oh yeah, they came in here in black suits and a bunch of administrators got together and said, well, you just go ahead and sign and just say it was COVID." Even if they got hit, under an overpass on their motorcycle, just say it was COVID. Well, hell, you know what? They were getting paid $22,000 a pop for that, for the respirators, and $14,000 a pop for the signatures, and God knows how much for the pharmacological. And a Band-Aid's $40 at the hospital. I don't know if you've audited your bill lately, but this stuff has gotten so fucking out of control that it's beyond my imagination at 66 years old. Go ahead, Bill.
Well, and at 59, I see it kind of clearly because I used to work for these in Blue Rock, brother. I used to work for these bastards like you. So we did the same stuff to the Soviet Union back in the day. Just infiltrate radio stations, get the media, put a bunch of hype out there so people are going after the hype. I just want to mention that every one of those things that you just mentioned are basically rabbit holes that never had a rabbit at the end of them. And I'm only saying that in the sense that that's how they get our attention. Like you were mentioning, they'll use a holiday or make some event. Well, that's actually it. You have people out there chasing this global pedophile ring when Uncle Bob down the street needs to have his fucking knees broke. And I say it like that because I mean it like that. Pedophilia in the home rose during the COVID pandemic because people, sometimes it's not good for family members to be all in the house at the same time. And we were living that way. A lot of things happened because of that, but it rose here while everybody was looking at the elite and wanting the head of the snake. We're not taking care of our own homes, much less our neighborhood, much less our community. We're more worried about the world thing. Now, I just want to say one thing about the whole Biden Hunter thing. That's a part of the flash. It's getting close to election season. They got Trump out there saying things. You can't leave Trump out of the list of players in the game over there in the tragic this tragic play that we call DC, the DC puppet show. If you notice, the whole inauguration was fake. It all is because, like, I'm going to always go back to square one. Since March 13th, which was a Friday the 13th, 2020, the stock market crashed and we went under FEMA rule all in the same day. Trump turned around and gave them $1.5 trillion after losing $11.5 trillion. They lost. It has the biggest profit margin ever. Well, they didn't lose nothing. That's it. That was when they cashed out on us. The last of the corporations, they fucking cashed out on us. They took their $13 trillion, and when they took their 11.5, they took our $1.5 trillion because that came from Social Security, from laws made by the Bush administration about being able to play the stock market with our money. And people say, yeah, because we like Bush and we don't like Bill Clinton. You know, he was messing with a woman under gas. What's wrong with him? Those are players. They don't mean shit. Biden is a blithering idiot, and that is the rub in the face at people that like. They have worked either intelligence or counterintelligence or see this for what it is. It is a rub of shit in our faces to put, because he is not a blithering idiot, by the way. The man is very fucking smart. He is a part of building this up because it started way back. Anyway, I can just go back to 92, really. But whatever he did, all that stuff, like they keep saying that they were going to have SEAL Team 6 murdered. Here's the thing. There ain't been no SEAL Team 6 since 1986, and you just looked that up. I am former Navy, 81 to 83, USS Carl Vinson. And I'm going to tell you right now, there is no SEAL Team 6. They were dissolved in 1986, and they became assassins. But the term SEAL Team 6 is their code word for Hollywood bullshit. So when SEAL Team 6 got Osama bin Laden, right? That wasn't. There ain't no SEAL Team 6. And you can look that information up right now.
It's like Delta Force, Strike Force, Strike Team.
But it doesn't matter. They usually name SEAL Team 6. They say SEAL Team 6. That means it did not happen.
Yeah, see, I worked, let's just say I worked a lot of special contracts. I was undercover 5 years for the governor of Texas, and I worked with a lot of agencies and entities. Let's just say that tonight. My audience already knows who I am, but I'm not going to say it again. But I worked with a lot of rogue agencies, and I worked with a lot of rogue individuals, and I worked with a lot of private individuals that were brought in from other rogue agencies. You know, I was telling Chad, I might be on a helicopter going somewhere, and I might be the med officer, you know, and I might be doing the med thing because I'm a paramedic, and I might meet this guy from the CIA here. I meet this guy from another higher intelligence agency here. There's a guy from the deep state here, and then there's some executive funding the whole thing, and then there's another guy. You never know who the fuck you're sitting on the helicopter with, and yet you're running a mission. And there's so many goddamn different personalities that play in these things. It's like a movie, you know. It's like a movie playing out, you know. And I used to do a lot of and I used to do a lot of extractions. You know what an extraction is? Of course, Bill does. We used to do a lot of private extractions, and then we'd do a couple of government extractions, and I never knew who the hell. And then we'd have all these double agents working with us who was taking money under the table from the very people that we were extracting, that we were extracting for. They were taking money from those who had kidnapped the extraction people that we were extracting.
Yeah.
So it was like so fucking confusing. You know what I mean? It was like psyop within a psyop. Like a psyop within a psyop. Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
Right. I'm just saying, I understand your where you know how you look at things because of your past experience dealing with this. That's what I did counterintelligence in the Navy. We would get the truth, we turned it into the lie. We manipulated people's minds. It was a Cold War. The only nuclear weapons that's ever been used since Nagasaki and Hiroshima have been on our own fucking soil. And Russia does theirs on their own soil, and China does theirs on their own soil. That is a game. It is like a saber rattling, but mutually assured destruction is guaranteed not to be on the table ever. It's a war for the mind, brother. And the thing is, if I was going to talk to a spook, or like what you graciously called CIA, if I was going to talk to some spook, I would not believe a word he said. I would walk away like eating a bowl of popcorn because I just listened to a fucking comedian or something. They
Oh,
don't.
it's
They're not. They can't even tell the truth about if they're human or not. They can't tell you
no,
the truth about that.
no, it's
And but
amazing.
what I'm getting at though is the thing that while we're doing all these things, and they seem like end of the world or this can't go on. We heard it about Trump. We've heard it every day of our life since we've been alive, brother. And how much of it has come true? Well, name one thing that come true. I mean, and none of it. There was no Russian nuclear capable ship in the Atlantic. There was no Chinese aircraft carrier in the Gulf of Mexico. But you know what was in the Gulf of Mexico? Chinese coal seam gas haulers. And they getting the coal seam gas from the Appalachian Mountains while we're worrying about if Hunter Biden, got a blowjob on cocaine in the Jamaican Islands or something. He didn't run for president, by the way. And I ain't seen any links to money. Like I haven't seen any links to Trump's Russiagate stuff. But the thing is, he was laundering money for Russian oligarchs before it started. If you step away from the politics of this and look at what has actually happened and what these people say that's going on, the media that's owned by these people, now 100% by these people, I just want to see where any of it happened. And the proof's always in the pudding, so to speak. And like I said, once again, I'm not debating this or arguing or just trying to say, oh, I'm right. Cause I'm not a political, I'm not a political extremist because there never was political people. We had a government that was supposed to take care of things that we didn't have time to because we were busy raising families and building businesses. And they were supposed to, Republic, we got senators to take care of that. It was easy to buy out when you have 2 senators per state. Like California went like liberal and places like Texas. Like the whole Mexicans shipping them up to Chicago. Well, one, there wasn't any one of them a Mexican. There were Peruvians, Ecuadorians,
Right.
and Nicaraguans. And they were getting them from by Sikorsky drop. They were picking them up down there with this promise to this new thing. Yeah, they lied to them. They thought they were coming into America legally because they're being picked up by ICE agents. And they go to Texas. All right, that's a Republican governor. He is down on illegal crossings. He ships them back all the time, but all of a sudden he's going to put them on a bus and ship them to Chicago. Now, that's how you get people to beg for a 15-minute city because they want protection from the illegals that's going to get my food stamp money and I lost my job. But there's 17 million fucking jobs that ain't been replaced since April of 2022, by the way. April 2020 as well. That's what I meant. But we got to look at that time frame. That's when the robbery took place, and they threw out all the smoke screens, and we're chasing all these things. There's an old Cherokee proverb says, "If you chase after more than one rabbit, you're not going to have rabbit stew." People don't take care of one problem before they're gone to the next one and the next one. That way, they don't see the results of what they were researching. Did it really happen, or is this just something like some Q shit? Q was Chinese counterintelligence, and I know that from brothers in the service. And there you go. They did the same thing. Like I said, we did this to them all in the 80s, infiltrating their television, because it was real easy. It was on open frequencies television frequencies. It's not even FM at that level of just like I say, it's easy to infiltrate. You can just burst in the signal. Amplitude modulation is what it was. So if you had higher amperage, you could just jump on their signal. But I watched them have half of a village suicide themselves because they thought the Huns was coming. We done this shit to them in the 80s. That's like 1,800 people, and they suicided their own kids. So over bullshit. All because they wanted to. Some military commander wanted to see if he could get some Soviet special forces out of Kazakhstan and to see if they could get them to move, get the people threatened enough to see what they do. And we saw what they did. They knew what they were going to do because they know that fear is their best weapon. But these people are being entertained to death right now, brother. And everybody's doing what they're doing and reacting to all this shit to the power of suggestion. That is a weapon of mass destruction right now. The power of suggestion. Look how many people are just because they were suggested to do it went and took the vax. Now look how many of them are dead. Look how many people take the flu shot because of the power of suggestion. Nobody went and put it in their arm. They never had to launch Operation Warp Speed. But I tell you one thing, our brothers shot them down. They said they wouldn't do it. That's why they vaxxed them. So that's how this is all working. You're hearing things through a controlled media from people that used us as slaves to build an empire. They sold this empire, and now the new boss don't want us. The new slave owner don't need our problems. Wow, we got more problems than the rest of the world times 10 combined. But the main problem we got is we love to be entertained. We love to be scared. We love for somebody to be the good guy and the bad guy. And for some reason, we love evil because every 4 fucking years you vote for the lesser of the two evils. And that's still evil. Why are we voting for the greater of the two goods? Huh?
Yeah.
I mean, I just want to be honest about that. Anybody out there that's political, you got a party. Why aren't you voting for the greater of the two goods? Why are you voting for somebody that can only talk about why the other guy shouldn't be president, but ain't saying a word about he should be president? You know, or it's always because what somebody else did, or here's what he's doing, or what did my son do, or what did my skanky daughter do that I want to date because she's hot? These people are showing you. Wow, Linda McMahon was in there, for Christ's sake. The CEO and writer for WWE Wrestling, the most popular show ever in the world. People that have high educations watch this crap because it draws you in. It's like drama. It brings all, you love to hate the guy or you hate to love him, but he's got the belt. And then you either want to see somebody take the belt from him or you want to see him keep the belt. That's your left-right paradigm. Everything Trump did was like a battle in wrestling, and he was protecting the belt. You know, if somebody wanted a shot at the title, well, come get it. You know, because I'm Donald Trump. I'm the Cheeto Jesus. Whatever. The whole point about it is it's entertainment. It was there's only laws that's been made that's mattered was right there before they got control of the country. They had in Congress right then, the last law that I know that was physically made through Congress, a law, not an executive order, some crap written or a mandate, was that the federal government took control over imported food. I was screaming about that. Like, y'all don't need control of our food. It's just imported food, Bill. We feed the world. And I'm like, yeah, we're the leading exporter of beef, but a steak costs $35. We're the leading exporter of oil, but a gallon of gas is $4. You know, when Venezuela was the leading exporter of oil, their gas was 25 cents a gallon. That was like 2 years before Trump. So what you're looking at, I mean, really is that they're snowballing us with these exciting type of things that never come to pass. Never. And like I said, I challenge anybody out here, if there's a stream on here, you tell me one thing that's happened. Or like he had the list of pedophiles and they showed it and there was all them names. Them names were from the 80s and 90s from people that had already been, like Strom Thurmond from the Reagan administration with the 17-year-old boy in the steam room, right, the bathhouse, right? He had been convicted and went to prison. He's dead now, but you look at the rest of them. They all had done their time. They all were convicted. They just threw names of known pedophiles in government out there, and it wasn't 40,000. It was more like 70 or something, like 70, not 70,000. And everybody bought off into it. So that kept the divide. I watched 1.2 million frigging the Great Southern Militia stand down when all they had to do was rattle their sabers right there at the beginning of 2020 and say, not down here. And they were going to go with Trump and the Q shit. Oh, Trump's got this. He's got the generals. I'm like, this ain't Rome, motherfucker. It's not like the soldiers follow the generals. They follow their paycheck. They didn't join to be soldiers. They joined to get an education and a paycheck because there's no job. That's why they joined. Look at the ratio of the people in there and the race statistics and all that. You'll know that's poor whites, it's black folks, it's Puerto Ricans. They're all in the military. And especially the Puerto Ricans now because, wow, they shut Puerto Rico off and that was a territory. We're supposed to take care of territories. But now all of a sudden, you know, throwing them a couple rolls of paper towels was all good after a hurricane, you know? Yeah. I mean, the human destruction of, and us hating each other to death. You can't get a left winger and a right winger to stand beside each other. Both of them are seizing to kill each other over shit that they ain't got, don't even affect their fucking lives. And they want to kill and take lives. But not the New World Order's life, not DC puppet show's life. No, not Bill Gates or Zuckerberg. No, they want to kill each other. The very solution to this fucking problem. So, I mean, I'm sorry, I get upset about this because there really is no answer to the talking points. And I told this to Chad before I got, I said, Chad, you know, it ain't gonna be about no talking points. You know that, brother. Because that's what draws us off from talking about unity, brotherhood, loyalty, and alliances. I don't want you to be my goddamn friend. I got enough fucking friends. I got myself, I got Trigger down here. What I need is allies that are on the same, where our common bond is life and putting these bastards down. Because they're not going to walk, y'all. If they walk, it's going to be like the Nazi scientists, and we're just going to put it off on another generation. You know, Operation Paperclip. We're not going to do that. We're going to hang every one of these bastards. But we just got to slow down for a minute and say, hey, the whole left-right thing, that was a good game. They had us for a little while, but it ain't true. Are there weirdo freaks running around? Yes. Look at what the food in the water, the atrazine in the water castrates men and causes frogs, at least, to lay eggs, to turn into a female and lay fucking eggs that turn into baby frogs. So that's in every drop of water in the world right now.
Yeah.
Because GMO foods took over. GMO foods are what? They're seedless. Seedless food makes seedless people. Look at us. Look at us. 82% below the normal birth rate. Wow, man. But I'm going to worry about how many tanks Russia's got in Mexico or something, or the Chinese troops up in Canada. Well, let them come. There's how many, you should know, brother. You know how many the true armed, number of armed people in America, or how many weapons there are in America. It's well over 500 million. They got almost enough for everybody to have 2 guns. That's guns that had a serial number on them. I've made 2 ARs in my machine shops that I work in. I'm a 31-year machinist. It ain't nothing to make one. You got a blueprint or even one to go by. But the whole point is, look at all the ghost weapons, the ones that aren't unmarked. So I would say that's even high. This soil has never been attacked, even back when the natives had it and the Vikings would come over. For some reason, it's just easy to defend. But even that Japanese admiral said one time, he said when he was asked why he didn't invade mainland America when he had the chance, and it was right there on California. They could have took it off. They had Hoover Dam covered, all that shit. They was going to take out the whole infrastructure. He said because behind every blade of grass there would be an insurgent. There would be a rifle.
Yes.
We're the fucking defense of this country, not some military. And I'm former military, and that, wow, big deal. Instead of boo-rah, it's more like big deal. I know that I got suckered, and I know I got played, and I watched people die because of that. But the thing is, we're what they're afraid of. These UN peacekeepers, they're volunteers, by the way. They're not like soldiers. They're more like police, and what they really do is they're good at going in and working the warlords that would pass out the food so they don't have to. They kind of like pawn it off to whoever they want to win these skirmishes, and it's mostly in areas where they've just raped it for the oil and everything. But the UN peacekeepers have all said this, and we're right out there in documents. The United Nations has to put this information out like once a week, and while people are worried about where the flags go, well, it was like where the peacekeepers go, because they were all questioned. 97% said they would not come to America because of gun violence. They said the same thing this admiral said back in World War II. Basically, we are the defense of this country. They're scared of us. And wow, who wants to pick up the tab on these welfare queens? He's the most craziest bunch of wanting something for nothing people. They made us so fucking weak with this domestication and like making everything and letting the school take over our kids and shit. Wow. People out there, get your balls back and take your families back. The destruction of the family unit was the main purpose to start this. They had to, and they started with the Civil Rights Act. Because in 1964, the black family was 78% intact. Today it's 7%. That's how things work when you coddle a nation. Now, what does every little comment, a new post out here on Facebook say? Get your free Social Security money. Get the $1,200 health care package. Like, wow, health care. You might as well say cyanide. Like, go get a cup of Kool-Aid cyanide. That's what health care is. They weren't about some free health care. How about some free fucking health? If you were healthy, you would not need health care, which is just a business term for how to make money off of people by selling them patented dope. So, I mean, there we go. We got to smarten up. That was our point anyway. We kept letting people take care of our business till they are now taking care of our business. They got so fucking scared they wanted security over freedom. And I'm not going to say liberty. Liberty's a slave term. I want my freedom, and other people fuck that up for me, but I'm not going to cry about it. I'm going to scream about it, by the way. But you see what I'm saying? We got to take this back. You ain't going to elect nobody to do this. You can't fix something that ain't broke. And DC ain't broke. It's been doing exactly what it's supposed to do, which is fool us, because this is a plantation, whether you want to believe it or not. We are all tax slaves. The 52 to 55% of your check that is federal income tax goes to the interest rate on the money that's borrowed on your straw man's name. So there you go. That's on us. We got to get smart about some things.
You know, Bill,
I'm not trying to take the platform. I'm just like, it's a good time to say something.
I want to compliment you on everything that you have said has been just right on. You know, we have done probably 5,075 shows as of tonight, probably
Wow.
little 5,000 shows. We're all over the world. We're in 123 countries. Now we're in like 63 countries, and now we've even dropped down because Chad and I are opening this new station. We got away from Blog Talk Radio. We were downloaded 189. You know the math. We were downloaded 189,000 times over there. Well, that exponentially runs up, you know, because downloads equal downloads equal downloads equal down. So we've been all over the world, you know. And now here we are starting this new channel, which we're multi-streaming tonight. We're adding OBS in a couple of weeks, which will be multi-streaming. And then we're adding a new platform that Marion is working on right now for our newsletter, which is, what is it? Our Substack, you know, our Substack. Our podcast channel is going to be a new Substack, which is really going to lay us out there. And, you know, I've got everything you've said has been very eloquent. And we've talked about over the last 5,000 shows, you have pretty much summed it up in 30 minutes. I mean, it's all right. Everything you said was just right on, you know. And it's just amazing. You know, my point is, I want to go back to what you said about a gun behind every blade of grass. That works well in theory, but when you look at the mind control technology that my side of the fence has been studying for the last 30 years, and that I've been involved in personally with special ops and special missions, and I have a lot of contacts around the world that do a lot of really interesting things with scientists in neurology, and you know, they've switched off the button. They've switched off the warrior button, turned on the coward button. Men have vaginas now. You know, it's like everybody's afraid. Everybody's afraid. Fear, like you said a while ago, fear is eating this country up with this fictional authority. Everybody looks at authority like it's real, and you and I both know it's just a fiction. It's just a fiction. But yet it looks so real, it feels so real, it smells so real, and you know these guys will come after you. Yeah, they'll come after you, but you know, fear. You said it perfectly, Bill. Fear is just killing people. You know, the schools have been taken over by the LGBTQPABCDEFGXIB fucking J, and then we got these drag queens running around, you know, selling, reading stories in all the libraries. And then Marion infiltrated a couple of schools, elementary schools, where the teachers pulled a bunch of dildos out of a box at a fourth grade class and was showing them dildos and butt plugs, and they were teaching them, oh, go home and vibrate with your parents' toothbrush. Now make sure it has a battery in it, and y'all can have circle jerks at home. And now they're putting out this stuff, and I can read it to you, send it to you. They're encouraging the education division here in the United States. They're encouraging us to teach children lust, you know, from zero age on. You know, we want them to know lust. We want them to know pleasure. We want them to be independent and have the right to have sex with anybody they want to, you know, and all of this stuff is coming. And the American people are just, I guess they're just petrified. They're zombies. They've been drinking the fluoride, and they've been eating the GMOs, and they've taken the shot, and their brain has just shut down and turned into mush, Bill.
I agree. And listen, you're absolutely right. In I think it was 46 when he was asked that question. It was right after World War II. Yes, that group of people had a hell of a lot better set of balls. They had tougher skin. They didn't worry about bullshit, and they basically wasn't scared of much. That was also the beginning of the time where they, like I said, they brought the Nazi scientists over here and started working on what we got today, which is the COVID male. You COVID males, wow. You say when you're non-binary, none of the things that they claim that any of these people can be in their alphabet, except for Q, is possible. Is even possible. But right. Questioning, I only want that's not a sexual preference. Questioning is not a fucking sexual preference. Why is it in there? Why is questioning in there? That's a point. So what they're doing to our children is very real. Now, in saying that, yes, there's clowns dressed around, burlesque show looking some bitches. They're paid to do what they're doing, and some of them are convicted felons for sexual deviancy with children. So that needs to be addressed right there, probably with a T-ball bat. And they probably won't see much of that. See nobody. You got all the COVID mails. They want the authorities to take care of that. I mean, authorities ain't going to be there. Like if your wife was being raped in the street, you are. They're not going to. They're there to go catch the criminal after the crime, not stop the crime. And they're not even going to catch the criminal nowadays. But the point I'm trying to make is, don't fall for some of the hype though, because they're not in libraries reading these books. They're in bookstores reading these books. Bookstores are not necessarily a place for children. They're putting it out there, so we're hating. And I don't hate nobody, but I don't like this shit. And you want to go be that way? Well, what happened to the sacredness and the sanctity of even a physical relationship with somebody? So why are they wanting to? Why I don't have to go broadcast my sexuality or who I am, or go out and do it in public, or go tell my kids that what I am. There's a time and a place for everything in the home. Family unit, remember, being torn down. That's what all this is about. So, but they're fooling you with some of this stuff to fuel it, because when they took the one guy out of the school, that was a small victory, but it was a big boost for morale. People physically saw a man just sit there and hammer on his son bitch till he got up and walked out. Even when the teachers were sitting there going, "Why are you doing this?" It's like, he's a convicted felon. He's a convicted child molester. Get him out of here. What's he doing here? What are you people doing? Now, I would have went to the person that okayed that. Damn the tranny. Damn the drag queen. I want to tell him, who let him in here? Who let my kid in here so I can get you fired, number one. And they'll beat your fucking ass for subjecting my kids to a dangerous person that was a convicted felon. I can't walk into schools and go sit in my kid's classroom anymore, my grandkids' kids' classroom, but this son bitch can come in. Who made this up? So what are your kids doing in the school? Because the schools don't have any funding right now.
You bring up a really good point. Somebody was complaining to me the other day, one of the sheriffs I know and one of the guards guys that I know, we were talking with one of the provost marshals out here, and he said, the illegal aliens can just walk right into the school. He said, I don't understand this. He said, the illegal aliens can just walk right on through and do whatever they want, but yet the American people who've been here have to sign paperwork to get in. They have to empty their pockets. They have to prove and show their papers. He said, it makes no sense whatsoever. And I said, it's not supposed to. His name was Bill. I said, Bill, it's not supposed to make any sense.
Well, I mean, I'd have to see that. Nobody gets any special privileges when it comes, because they shut that down during the COVID thing. See, that way back in 2020, and that when they shut the schools down. First, it wasn't supposed to bother kids. Now all of a sudden, it's going to bother kids. They shut the schools down, and they had you either on a computer at home. You could homeschool your kid on your own, which everybody thinks you have to have a teacher's degree. No, you don't. You have to be a parent. You got to be able to read and write and follow some type of criteria. And then it's up to you. But the other method was school at home, like Zoom school. And the little teacher icon that would tell them what to do, it was weird in itself. But the thing was, they said you could not watch your kid while they were going to school at home. Now, they did say that. All right, first, who would know that I was watching my kid, even if I was out of the camera range? Why did you just say that? My kid did not buy their own computer. That's my computer. They're on my internet. They're in my home. Why can't I can monitor what I want in my home? All right. Anybody want to pay attention to the administration of billionaires? Betsy DuBois, she became a billionaire by doing fire sales for big corporations that were going bust, or they was going to unite up to get rid of the trash, the extra expenses. That's how she became rich. She did fire sales for corporations. That's what she did to the Department of Education. She gutted it. There's no money going to it. It's being propped up right now by this. There's no doubt, y'all. I'm not going to ever not tell you that there is not a shadow of, what I would call a shadow of evil, demented, out of touch people that have gotten so filthy rich that they really believe we are their slaves. They have been born into that. They were bred to believe that, and they're doing that. But there's only a handful of them, and they've only used the power of suggestion. There has been no UN troops. There has been no troop movement across this country. Nobody has been made to do a damn thing. They just didn't want to be fucking inconvenienced. They want to put a mask on, but you got the mop boy from the grocery store at the front door saying, "Put your mask on, or you can't come in and get food." I'd be like, "Hey, clean up on aisle 5, son, bitch. Get out of my way. I'm going to eat." Or why are you dependent? Why are you dependent on eating out of a grocery store? Can you eat outside of a grocery store? Could you eat and support your family without a grocery store? That's what I learned during COVID lockdown. Nobody can, and it broke my heart, brother. It broke my heart because the Department of Homeland Security said that if they were to if the power grid shut down, they wouldn't need 6 months. They said within the first 2 weeks, 75% of Americans would be dead by other American hands, panicking and trying to get their shit because they don't know what to do without a war daddy. They don't know what to do without a teacher or somebody or a boss man. Nobody knows how to run their own life. So that's where you are 1,000% correct. These bastards have done a good job. And with the help of this 5G crap, which all I can say is this is a silver line hat right here. I normally got my shirt on when I'm sitting in front of the windows over here. My camper's completely aluminum. That's why I bought this old bastard. This old 2023 aluminum alloy. Ain't nothing coming through here frequency-wise, but also it don't get out. I got to get in this one little spot. But no matter what kind of phone you got, some people say, "I'll never get a 5G phone." I don't make a rat's ass. It's the 5G's in the air. Your phone's a transceiver. It picks up and it receives and transmits. So it's receiving because the frequencies are there. Now the birds are coming back this spring and summer, and a lot of people are noticing there's more birds. But I know I'm seeing more weird stuff with the oceans, and it's not. They got a way of this frequency range on this 5G, which is a patented weapon system by the Chinese, by the way. And anybody can look that up. It's the range on it is so broad, like the low and the plus and minus, high or low or whatever. That they can almost do anything with it. They covered all aspects of it. Mind control, which is there. Because I've counseled brothers that came back from Fallujah, and they were there when they wiped out Fallujah. You know, they took that they fucking took out that whole village, brother. And but how they did it was they claimed that there were like 10 terrorists in the middle of a town of about 3,000. But they came up there with MRAPs that had satellite dishes on, or the little dishes on that put the frequency on them. They hit the thing with satellites above and the ground force, and the people came. All of a sudden, they felt empowered. They thought that was the enemy, and they could kill them, whatever they thought. And they had men, women, children, even the dogs were running at fully loaded Apache gunships and M1 Abrams tanks, and they got slaughtered because they made it in their mind through those frequencies that they could do that. Look at the bum rush at that concert. Look at a lot of things where there's been mass hysteria all at one time, and then everybody's sitting around afterwards going, "What the fuck happened?" Look at the Las Vegas shooting. All them people swearing they saw somebody shooting. So you gonna tell me a man got into a Las Vegas casino hotel room with a big trunk full of weapons? Well, okay, that's fine. You believe that. That was a good false flag. But the people at the concert, see, now they had those dishes up there too. A lot of these false flags are paid for people. So they're just out there. They make them look bloody. Like Plexi down in Brunswick, where I used to live, Brunswick, Georgia. They had the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center right there. And they always hiring people for like good money. Back then, it was like $19.25 an hour.
Yeah.
And you just role play with them. You'll act like the victim, or you'll be the bad guy sometimes. But whatever, so they can train. And I used to have some brothers in the Southern militias down there. They did that, acting stupid, be the thing, so they could get the inner workings of what they do and their tactics on breaching a house, breaching any kind of situation that they come up with, because they train all the cops. But the cops that train them, well, they're Israelis over there in Palestine. So what is Palestine? It's a prison city, right? Since 2000. They fucked up and found 13 trillion cubic feet of natural gas off the shores of Gaza. Poor bastards. Now they're going to get some democracy. But what happened to them was Israel wasn't going to buy anything from Palestine. They took their country. Why are they going to buy natural gas from them? So they took it. But Palestine has been the practice area for the last 22 years. Well, actually, I'd say the last 20 years before, like from 2000 to 2020 or 2019, really, on how police all around the world would send their trainers, their instructors to go there. And that's how they know how to keep these cities down. This smart city thing is no freaking psyop or no joke. It was already in the 1992 original document of Agenda 21. They said they were going to put us in coastal cities while the inside of America, the infrastructure of the main part of the land, the breadbasket of the world, healed back. So in 92, they know they fucked it up. But they said, if we get over 6 billion people, we're going to have to put y'all in coastal cities until this heals. And it'll probably take about, 20 years. So now you're looking at, that's what you got, the 2021 and the 2030 agenda. Well, 2021, the Agenda 21, I look at the 2 and the 1 as 2001, because that's when they started isolating us and they locked down America. We've been on lockdown ever since because it was called the Patriot Act. And by the way, you know who else had a Patriot Act? Except you didn't know it was called the Patriot Act because it was in German. Hitler, after the building there, they pulled a false flag on one of their government buildings, said the Russians did it. And then and who else had a Department of Homeland Security? Well, the Nazis. And who said the enemy was this guy that was actually your friend that there wasn't that many of? Well, there you go. So when I see this almost cult-like teenage girl watching Elvis, political people watching somebody like Trump ramble on, or somebody incoherent like Biden, that kid don't even got the right shoes on the right feet, and they're going, "Oh, that's my daddy, that's my daddy." That means our people are fucked up, brother. I mean, I know that I'm trying to make that sound funny because it's that serious. That's what scares me the most. When I hear a trumpet blowing their horn, I'm like, wow, brother, you used to be a conservative. You used to be a Republican. You're not even, they turned them completely against their morals, the base morals of their party. And look at the Democratic Party. They were supposed to feed the people and help the people. But if you didn't get the fucking vax, you just starve. You deserve to die. Don't be coming over here and getting my kids sick. But if your kid's vaxxed, well, probably going to be dead, but you should be okay. But no.
Bill has been reading our mind for the last goddamn 10 years here. He's saying everything that this guy is, Bill, you're something else. I tell you,
I told you he was a gym man.
He's repeated every show we've ever done verbatim. He's right on. He's spot on. His dates are on. His sources are on. The psychodemographic stratification is there. The psychological breakdown is there. Everything. And I'm really happy to have you on. I'm really honored, Bill, to meet you tonight. Really honored. You are something else, let me tell you, bud. I'm so glad to meet somebody that's on the same page as we are for a change, so our audience doesn't think that doesn't think just Chad and I are crazy. You're crazy now too. So they
Well, yeah, I don't think I was swimming by coming out here, but it's good to be around my kind, y'all. The thing is, as long as somebody loves life and actually sees the real enemy as not other people, and even giving a chance of hearing out. Because, see, they got this term out there that they stole from the 9/11 people, and they call these people truthers. And I don't like these people called truthers. It's pretty much limited to Facebook and some pew jackasses that, got the Hollywood Squares box and they think they're somebody. But the thing is, they always, we're going to tell the truth. I'm looking for the truth. The truth don't need a champion. It's always there. I look for the fucking lies because that's what keeps you from seeing the truth. I can't change the truth. I can't show you the truth, but I can show you the lie. And if you want to keep believing it, I've gotten to a point where I don't hate you. I love everybody. But that don't mean I got to like a son of a bitch out there. So I tell you what, but I love you because I want to live, and I can't live if you don't live. I love your kids like I love my kids because they're the future, and I want to see them all go somewhere, and we're not doing that. So I feel like a failure, and I don't feel like a coward, but I feel like a failure because I'm not handing down my kid. Well, I'm down to 2 now, but I'm not handing my boys or my grandkids any kind of a future right now. They're going to die, period. There's no food, and they're trying to transhuman people into this I can eat plastic kind of person. They're trying to change that part of transhumaning is very real, by the way, but it's been going on. All these people waiting on this or thinking that the freaks are that way. A lot of those people were just confused and didn't know like I said, the Q part, the questioning, that should not be in there. But even beyond that part of life, once you get over your nuts dropping and realize you like girls or whatever, you know, and you realize it was testosterone and all that kind of stuff that makes you do stupid stuff. They got into society. Well, see, they felt like I don't fit into society, so I'm a minority, so I'm going to go to the party of minorities. But the whole trap in that is nobody fits in society. It's not designed to fit in. You're not supposed to fit into it. The people that design society don't fit in it. It's a control tool. So you work, buy, consume, die. Work, buy, consume, die. That's your life. And you believe it, you love it. You're going to work 50 years and you got a bucket list, though. And you're too old and sick to do anything about it. And they took your Medicaid money and gave it to the Chinese or whatever. There you go. I'm not going to, they're going to go vote, though. These same people that know all this are going to go vote. But you're right. I mean, I think everybody actually is on the same page. I really do. If you love life, period. You know, if you just want to live through this. But isolation really did its number on people. There's many people out there that actually got isolation and solitude mixed up. And they're isolated within themselves. They're worse than a sociopath that would just watch somebody bleed out and be like, wow, look at that. The blood's pumping out. Oh, man, hugs and prayers, guy. I got to go get something to eat. You know, that's a sociopath. These people are worse than that. They think that they can just live in their house forever and watch the internet. That part, this is the part. See, this has happened so many different times in history, but this technology's never been out there. You know, the mass entertainment, you know. And think about the presidential phone alert. You know, they can hit 250 million phones at one time. If they would have done that in the original, you know, go home lockdown, if they'd have had that much, this probably would have went a lot quicker for them. But they didn't. But they do now. Oh, Trump made sure you got that, didn't he? When he was securing 5G.
You know, I'm just sitting here. I'm sitting here looking at weird weather. I'm not even going to talk about it. That's not supposed to be here in this undisclosed location where Chad and I are. You know, the chemtrails and the selenium and the barium and the strontium and the strontium 137 and all of the other shit that's going on up there with the aluminum reflective powers of HARP and DARPA. This shit's not supposed to be happening here. This is shit that is not normal. Okay, what I'm showing you here, this is not normal. Yeah, not. See, I've been here a long time. The shit that's happening up here is definitely not natural, if you want to say natural. Okay. And that's something that really bothers me a lot, that now they can control the weather to such a degree, and the tectonic plate movement and volcanic action and tsunami and all of these other strike, the jet stream is all confused. You know, they've got the jet streams not even natural anymore. It's gotten all confused, a bit of consciousness, you know.
If I could just make it, this is my original reason why I actually, when I was trying to cure my agoraphobia, I'm like scared the hell of y'all, but not no more. I was kidding about that, but was the chemtrailing, and I wondered what it was. So you look into it, it's solar radiation management. I worked at Pratt & Whitney Aircraft where they built the engines that are on the planes right now. We built these in the late 80s and early 90s, the PW 4000 and 2000 engine set. They were designed to purposely not put out a contrail so you wouldn't see the aircraft, and they had a whisper package so you wouldn't hear them because people were complaining about air pollution and also out of sight, out of mind, right? You don't hear them, you don't see the contrail, you don't see the plane. But wow, there you go. Now, solar radiation management is a broad stroke term for it, but here's the thing: you can tell that they're blocking back the UVB spectrum light coming from our sun. So like when you look at these really crazy sunsets, bright, fiery red, and all that, like when we were young, bro, the sun was yellow and the clouds were white, by the way, and they were fluffy for the most part unless it was a thunderstorm. And then you didn't mind getting in it because it didn't have radioactive barium and strontium, you know, pouring down on your head. And now lithium, they admit they're putting lithium in the air now. Yeah. But man, I actually go by like what the Air Force releases. I don't go by what the DC releases. DC has nothing to do with none of that. But anyway, with the UVB light is the light that fuels our immune system. That's the light and the radiation that hits our bodies, and it activates our kidneys to release a secretion, and that's what empowers your immune system. All right. You're depopulating the world. You always got to go back to square one. Everybody on planet Earth right now is suffering from a vitamin D deficiency for a vitamin D that's not a vitamin, and we can't go milk each other's kidneys to get that stuff. So there is no real vitamin D2 or D3 supplements out there. They're lying like motherfuckers to you, and they would tell you that, but they got people jacked up on them. They got a National Institute of Health Studies, which I'm always looking at for my mushrooms and stuff. I found an answer in this. And I made a tea. Actually, I call it the sunshine tea, but it's also the tea that reverses the vax. But it's the mushrooms that soak in this radiation naturally because they're outdoor
Right.
wild mushrooms, right? And I'm in the foothills of Appalachians, by the way, that's still beautiful and still the mother's got many, many gifts here and lots of them. And come to find out, when you eat those kind of mushrooms, it does the same thing the sun does. You got that same type of radiation because they absorb only the radiation, not the light. We get the light radiation. They get the actual radiation that's in the ambient air around them. That's why mushrooms grow in the behind trees or on the side of trees where the sun's on the other side.
Right.
So from a health aspect, that's genius because vitamin D2, D3 deficiency, it's even worse than scurvy, which was a vitamin deficiency, and they thought it was a disease. They can blame it on the Rona. They can blame it on Omicron, Delta, any fucking name they want to come up with. They can call it a bioweapon that leaked out of Wuhan, China, which, by the way, nothing ever leaks out. Nothing escapes. Nothing accidentally left the fucking governments of the world. Trust me, they put it out. They want you to know exactly what they want you to know. And like these people out here, well, I got my places on the internet, Bill. I got these places I go. They're trustworthy. We're finding the rabbit holes. It's like they own the internet. They let you all the rabbit holes. They let you the little thing in the dark corner to go find and pick up. They let you the quarter on the ground that was on tails, which was a sign that Trump was going to get the pedos and hang Hillary. Why is Hillary not in jail? Why ain't that fucking my bad, almost said it. Why ain't that bitch in jail? She's a fucking globalist Illuminati fucking piece of shit. Her husband's a drunk fucking pedophile. Why ain't she hung? Why ain't she hanging? Because it's a show, brother. That's what I'm saying. Why her and Bill Gates was, last I heard, it was her and Bill Gates were down in the dumb bunkers killing our Marines. I was like, well, you probably might get over a few good shots. I mean, Bill Gates was all mad about, getting divorced by his husband. Now, he didn't know what to do. He was pretty mad. Probably could have shot up a bunch of people. In other words, I'm going to make fun of this shit because it's a joke. It's a fucking joke. They are really blocking back the skies. Even Obama said, well, right towards the end of his, he was about to come out the door. He didn't mess up his little thing. I don't know. But he even said the number one concern of the whole entire world right now is why the skies. Why are they spraying the skies? Because you can't reverse that. They use these Doppler towers to heat that up to 1,600 degrees. Well, that's what the sun does from the other side. See? So now the sun's like, well, I don't need to do this no more. Y'all got this covered. Kind of like when you take antibiotics more than 28 days, your immune system says, peace, brother, I'll see you later. You got this covered. Or like when you take insulin, your pancreas shuts down. All these things, your body's got to work. But now, that was that other thing you was talking about. But anyway, the whole point about the spraying the skies, you're absolutely right. They're bouncing stuff off this. It has probably 400-something different applications that could be weaponized in an instant. And the Air Force said they'd have control of the weather by 2017, and I think it's past 2017. But but the Chinese, while Oregon's been burning and y'all been firing up, that whole West Coast is the most heavily chemtrailed area. You've got the crap from Fukushima since March 2011 that's been spinning around in there. Now the ring of fire. But the reason why the earthquakes are worse right now is, and you go look at the Farmer's Almanac, because this is what they go by. It's because we're going into solar grand maximum. I think that's why everything's going better. Well, I know it is, but I had to see this here with my own eyes. When you're right at the end of solar grand minimum, which would have been 2021, that was probably the worst and scariest spring I've ever seen. Nothing at the summer and everything. It took a long time to bloom, like 4 to 6 weeks late blooming and 4 to 6 weeks early going out. It was barely there a month. And I'm talking about medicinals like goldenrod and purple ironweed, which is a blood tonic and cleans your liver. All these things wasn't there but for a minute. But 2022, when we started going into maximum, which peaks at 2025. Now, Google wants to make sure you stay good and scared. So they got the Google news feed, right? That's when they show the jackasses on YouTube that are like the Q-tards and the people that talk about all this crazy stuff. They let that be the news now. That's like your news. Like they just hung what was it? They just hung Dick Cheney, and now they're going to hang his daughter, Liz Cheney, right beside his dead body. I mean, you can't kill Dick Cheney. That son of a bitch is going to live forever. That's Satan. That's a Satan. Dick Cheney is Satan, I'm telling you. He's that what? So hard. I mean, he probably eats two babies for breakfast, you know. That is an evil son of a bitch, though, for real. He's like the king god of Halliburton, you know. But, that's our health is actually one of the biggest keys in this, because when we're unhealthy, we don't think well. When our immune system is down, we don't think at all. And we're in fear. Wow, instincts take over, you know, to fight, flight, or play possum. That becomes instinct now. You're not thinking about nothing. Matter of fact, the worst decisions anybody's probably ever made in their life was because they were scared in the heat of the moment.
Fear also lowers the immune system as well. You know what I mean? It makes the immune system go dormant. So it stops even trying to help the body out, and it goes into flight or fight. And it usually goes into the flight system. So it's not even worried about healing itself. It's just worried about getting out of Dodge.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the bad part. You're right. It's more about running these days. Well, they used to say, you know, you got a yellow streak down your, I saw the yellow streak down your back because you was running away from the fight. I don't blame a lot of these people for being scared of what they're scared of. But you're not scared of reality. You're scared of the fucking illusion that they're putting out there for you to be afraid of. You're being entertained to death. You are being entertained to death. Our military would have been done, took us out. This has been going on since 2020. They've had a Republican president and a Democratic president. Both, you know, like you said, they're selected, not elected. And these some bitches are playing their roles to the hilt. So why hasn't that been used then? Why is Operation Warp Speed still on the table? Why is there 16,000 Northern Command? And you know what a Northern Command soldier is, don't you? That's what George Bush put in there right before 9/11. He's like, well, if something happens in America, we might have to calm the public down. So we'll make the Northern Command just in case something happens. And then the very day of 9/11, well, the Virginia Air Wing that covers Langley and D.C. and all that. Yeah. Well, they're out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean doing drills on planes flying into buildings. Well, we're not in just buildings, the World Trade Center. So when they heard the radio chatter, they thought it was the drill. And see, they've done that to us out there doing med packs over there, and pretty much when that Middle East started. I mean, I feel bad about that. Actually, that shit actually started in the 80s. Nothing starts overnight. They work on 10-year plans. But so all that happens like it happens. That's because basically when it comes down, you're not thinking, you're reacting. So you got fear would probably be the top. Learning to like to look at news for consider the source. I would not watch anything that's labeled news entertainment. When I don't know if TV Guide's still out there, but the last time I looked at a TV Guide, and it was in this century, by the way, it said that Fox News, CNN, all of them was news entertainment. Like wrestling is sports entertainment, or like the NFL too. but there you go. There you go. Well, it's entertainment. So there's
I call it, I wanted Chad to see Wag the Dog. Did you see it yet, Chad?
I started to watch it and fell asleep.
Okay. I want him to see Wag the Dog because it describes perfectly, Bill, what we're talking about here is Wag the Dog. And, I grew up with Dick Raines. That tells you how old I am. I grew up at the Sportatorium in Dallas with Dick Raines and spoiler number 1, spoiler number 2. And I grew up with the Fritz Von Erich and the Von Erich family. I was down there sweeping floors and mopping for those guys. And they taught me all about the theater of wrestling, They taught me all about the. Oh yeah. They were at our farm every weekend, roasting a pig down at our farm every weekend. All the Von Erichs. I lived right around the corner from Dick Raines. He had a farm right next door to us, and we were all partying. I partied with all the wrestlers, and it was good growing up with them. A lot of that used to be more real, like Fritz Von Erich's day. Wrestling was a little more tough and a little more rough, and then they started getting into this idea of commercializing it and choreographing it, you know. And that's when I can't remember the guy's name that came in. He was kind of like one of these Russian special ops. He came in and said, you know, we need to commercialize this. We need to choreograph everything, and we need to make it look like they're really getting hurt when they're really not. They did it. And like you said, it became a multi-billion-dollar industry when they did that, you know.
And Linda McMahon is brilliant, and they didn't become billionaires. Well, actually, I'm gonna let you in on a probably not so little secret. Anybody that's you're not given a billionaire status. You could probably go make some good millions on your own. They can't stop that, but you don't reach that billionaire status. Like a billion is $1,000 million. I'm gonna use some atomic core math on you. That's $1,000 million. You know, is $1 billion. Elon Musk has 300 something $billion. That could run that could run this country for quite a while. The point is, those are the people that own all of the things that we research from. That's why they killed print. No, print's basically dead. You go to a library, well, you're not going to find no drag queens, that's for sure. they're at the bookstores. I'm serious about that. And, you know, anybody can write a book, you know, some weird paperback novel or whatever, some drama thing, fiction stuff, and go to a bookstore and do a signing. That's all they're doing. And they like I said, the media they own the media. Now, and that's the other thing I want you to be careful of. The guy, what's the black guy from CNN that got fired, and what is it, Tucker Carlson?
Roker, Ed Roker.
Okay. And then now the guy from C-SPAN, he's saying, I'm not doing Meet the Press no more. Well, see, now they're killing TV because it's been seen for what it is by too many people. We have talked about this on social media so much about how fake TV is that now they're having to evolve with their thing too. Like they got a plan, but they evolve it, they tweak it all the time. So and they got to move with it. We'll go with the punches, so to speak. This is a war for our minds. So now the TV's not that instrumental in it anymore. So they're going to kill TV, but you'll have Tucker Carlson, like he'll be like that sellout Joe Rogan. You see, you listen to him because wow, he stood up to Neil Young, and who the fuck is Neil Young? Neil Young just made $25 million off of those things that supposedly got headed. They wasn't going to ban or whatever. He sold his music, by the way, is what I'm getting at. But the whole point I'm trying to make is they're going to turn the internet into where you get the real information. You know where you get the real information from, brothers? You get it from your news feed, watching people all around the world. I don't have 5,000 friends because I can handle that. I've got 5,000 friends because when something happens around the world, I got a friend there. I can talk to them. I've got friends over in the Ukraine. I'll show you right on live feed that that's bullshit. And all that over there is another tail wagging the dog. The whole point I'm trying to make, they've got people believing that this internet is something more than the bells and whistles it is. It is a good set of comms, but it's compromised. We know that. Well, we got zips in the wire. That's all I can say. But the thing is, it's not. But outside of the communication and talking to each other, like you telling me what's really going on in Oregon, right? So if somebody's sitting there saying, "Well, Bigfoot's out there knocking the trees down and causing the fires," now I know it's direct energy weapons because brothers like you have been doing videos, not live feeds that get shut off, but a video on their phone of the boom coming down. I hear you, brother.
Yeah, we're also the trauma team.
Yeah, I was talking about that.
Team. Yeah.
My heart went out for y'all because I know that they shortchanged everybody. Half the fucking hospitals are closed. Half of those people ain't there no more. We lost 1.7 million healthcare workers just in April of 2020 alone. Just that 1 month. They didn't get their jobs back.
No.
And all the people that tried to stick they said get vaxxed or don't. Well, that's how you get rid of the lightweight, so to speak, and you keep the fucking conform people. I mean, like, that's all they really want. I wouldn't go to the hospital for nothing, brother. I don't care. A paramedic, I've only been airlifted once, and that was up there in Ohio after a hit and run, and a guy ran me over on the side of the road, friggin' Yankee. And I wound up in a hospital, Sikorsky, going up there to Cleveland hospital up there, and which actually they did some good stuff. They gave me a full body MRI. That's why I found out my tumors were coming back on my kidneys from drinking that poison water up there. So I was able to take care of that. But I tell you what, the way that y'all have to really like be there and be swamped out, like a paramedic on the road. He said it was 45 minutes from the time you call in on 911. So you call emergency. I got a guy right here. He's bleeding out. He just got hit by a semi truck. A driverless semi truck. We'll throw that in there. And he's bleeding out. We need somebody here immediately. You could even be around the block, but you're probably on another call. So I mean, I get it. I get you. Just do your best, brothers, and hold on because they got nobody else. They don't got nobody else.
We're working on expanding the program. We're working on helping some of the departments to get more equipment, more materials, more supplies, more training. Nobody wants to be a fireman up here anymore. They've got help wanted signs everywhere. Volunteers, we need volunteers. Nobody wants to help, Chad and I were the first ones on the scene here the other day on 2 major fires, and everybody was standing around with their hands in their pocket. What are you waiting for? What do you guys, there's crackling over here. There's houses going to burn up. Well, we're waiting for the brass. We're waiting for the brass. I said, waiting for the fucking brass.
Can't make a decision. That's America. It's like America, like UH America. America. Like, what the
we walked in, right? We walked in when we first drove on the scene of this forest fire that was heading towards our house. There was 4 guys, 3 command units sitting there. They all had their hands in their pants. They were joking and laughing like nothing's going on. So we asked them, well, where's the fire at? Because we could see the smoke and we could hear the crackle. So where's the fire? We don't know yet. What do you mean you don't know yet? You're sitting on the side of the road in the command unit. What do you mean you don't know?
The boss, we could see the flames burn right there next to us.
So we go up, what was it? Probably about 200 yards, 300 yards. And we crossed across this little bridge that scared to death to walk across it. I don't know how these people even thought driving across it would be a good idea. But we get down there, we get down to this house, and we're watching the flames start off from like 30 feet from the house. We're there maybe 5 minutes. By the time it's done, it's 15, maybe 20 feet from the house, burning the pine tree there. And they're just now getting the truck down in there. Oh, we're just going to assess it right now. What do you mean? It's already 20 acres up on fire. What do you mean assess it? They had no clue what was going on. And that's a sad shot.
Yeah, and I don't want to put these guys down because I just don't want to, but it's just like people need to wake the hell up. I mean, those guys should
have been more aggressive. Well, I'm going to wake them up without shaming them. I'm not trying to interrupt you. But how we not? We've got to look at our brother in the eye and say, "Get your head out your ass, son. What are you doing? Waiting on what? You're a fireman? Are you a fireman? If you're not, you're a COVID male. Go home and hold your ladies first. We got some work to do." I must say I can't know how y'all deal with them forest fires because the only one I ever seen was over in Australia, and my brother Ian Barber over there. I lived with him for about 6 months over there, and he was the chief of his area, Kiler, New South Wales. And we were just going into a job that he was doing. He put the gutter up around houses, which is real important because they got to collect their water. And you saw it coming, and it's like a living being, and it's just coming across. It goes across this big 2-lane highway, like one of your major interstates or something. It just goes across. They're sitting there going, talking to each other, not even really looking at it. I'm like, brother, there's a fire out there. It's as big as Godzilla. Get the fuck back up. That means the bird. Anyway, they were having a ball with me because I didn't know that it actually, seeds and stuff over there actually germinate because they burn. It has to burn. That's because that's there. That's not Oregon, the land of the biggest mushroom in the world. It's right there, the honey mushroom. Y'all got like a lot of amazing things up there. It's supposed to be the wettest area or one of them, like Washington and Oregon. Wow, what happened? But you got the direct energy weapons. I mean, and you can't beat that. You had that PG&E, those friggin' frackers. Cause that's the other thing. There's all that fresh water in California and all the way up to Washington, actually to Alaska. It takes over 2 million gallons of water to frack one well. That's just the initial frack. And then where does that go? Then you got the rainwater that comes back from the Pacific. That's fresh water, but it is radioactive now. That dries out your area. So when you do get a fire, I bet y'all are getting very seriously hot and quick and like living fires.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, y'all got my deepest respect on that.
Right.
What?
I've been out this area, a month now, Kiler? I haven't seen yet one raindrop in our area yet. yet, and it's
No, we're so
spring. We
good.
should be getting storms. We should be getting thunderstorms. We should be, we should be watching the gold being pushed down off the mountain right now with all the waters coming down. Right?
Well, there's one coming right now.
I hope.
Yeah,
But rainstorm.
Yeah, they're making some predictions. We'll see what happens. They're in such control. I don't believe them anymore. We'll see what happens.
Right. Well, but you said controlling the weather. I just want to ask you one question. And the reason why they got that big dip in the where you got that circle up there, the polar
polar vortex.
Polar vortex. That's because we're 30 degrees off tilt. And if you don't believe that, all you got to do is
33.6.
Okay, so you see the moon wobble then, right? Because it's not the moon wobbling, it's us being okay. There you go. Right. And if you missed that one, then just watch Orion. He almost turns upside down, but which he is upside down in Australia. That's why I know the Earth ain't flat. But I've been on a carrier in the middle of like the ocean where you don't see nothing. You're pretty much going to see that this shit ain't flat. But anyway, I want to know who's controlling that, the weather part. I know that some of the things they've done have been trying to counter, like the polar vortex, and counter some bad. Even thought they could stop hurricanes, but then they can also. We looked at Katrina and Harvey that came up through the Gulf, basically spread a flesh-eating disease all the way up through that part of America. Destroyed infrastructure, but they were at the same time they were running a drill to see how quickly they could put back up the infrastructure. So wow, and Houston got put right back on grid quick, but the people of Houston wow, they didn't get nothing. You had the floods that went across Nebraska. Remember in 2017, flooded all that out. Now there was no food out there, no nothing from there, and now the land is contaminated, and all those chemicals went down into the Gulf and mixed with those petrochemicals. That's where that flesh-eating disease comes from. I don't think they'd have wanted that. They're trying to call it red algae. I haven't even heard any more about the Sargasso Sea coming up into the Gulf. That's unreal, and that's deadly because it makes a gas. So they're allowing everything like this to happen naturally to destroy us because it's like 1,000 ways to die, brother.
Well, when Fukushima happened, we had furniture and everything floating around here in the West Pacific, and it was floating out all in between California and Hawaii. We had the radiation people out there, and I had my radiation group out there, and the government was lying to us. They kept putting the rads down, and we were looking at them going way up, and they were running them down, down, down. And I asked the inspectors out there, what are you guys doing, man? Our machines must be calibrated differently or something. He's like, well, no, man, we've been ordered to do this. You guys need to just kind of get out of here. And I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. Looks like a free ocean to me. I'm not going anywhere, dude. And he was like, well, you guys don't need to be taking these readings. And I'm like, oh, yeah, we do. We really do. He goes, you're not putting this on the air, are you? And I go, yeah, we are going to put it on the air. And they were scared, man. These guys were scared. They were being ordered by NOAA, and they were being ordered by the National Oceanic Group to lower the standards. And then the federal government got involved, and they were lowering the rads. And the damn thing was so high, we had animals dying all over the place. We had aquatics were dying all over the place, just like in Pennsylvania there. Just like up there where they had that derailment, it was a 2,200 square mile radius of poison, toxins, and all kinds of devastation going on. I've got people calling me there now that are saying the turtles and the fish and the snakes and everything are still dying. Earthworms are coming up dead out of the soil. Babies are being born already deformed. People don't understand. They don't understand how dangerous all this shit is. And now we find out that was sabotage. It took the EPA forever to get there. They didn't want to shut anything down. Then they started hauling soil off in dump trucks and moving it down the road. And I'm like, what are you guys thinking, man? What do you got? Why haven't you called a national emergency? Oh, we don't need to call a national emergency. It's not that big of a deal. I said, not that big of a fucking deal. What are you talking about?
You see melted fucking jellyfish, and deep sea creatures that have never been seen by our human eye, only by submersibles and stuff. And they're watching up on the beach, and And the surfers are still surfing. You gotta give it to them sons of bitches. They must really be loving their sport, loving their little thing, to be out there surfing in that crap. But the shame about it is, in '79, when they completed the Fukushima nuclear reactor, General Electric built that. Right, General Electric, they built it on the Pacific Ring of Fire, for Christ's sake, the most volatile area in the whole world. We're warned about this, but I think that was part of this setup. I really do. I think it's the overall setup. Big Oil got back a report in 1972, and they gave the government part of it. And all of a sudden, we went to 4-cylinder cars and give a hoot, don't pollute. Everything was about conserving, and we went all the way till when? 92. Big Oil gave a 20-year go at it, but greed took over. And then 1992, next thing you know, you got soccer moms with an a Hummer, going to get the kids from soccer practice. Like, what the hell you need a Hummer for? You couldn't drive the damn Toyota. Get back in the Honda. What's wrong with you? But
the Pacific garbage patch. I was doing some research on the Pacific garbage patch that's larger than France right now, and I was talking to a friend of mine who knows that kid that built that cleanup machine. He got all the publicity. That young kid,
Yeah.
Well, I was talking to him, and he said, "Yeah, I went out there and I actually flew over it. He's a pilot. I'm a pilot, and I used to fly with Bill, but Bill died with cancer. I've had cancer. I had a big tumor that taken off my kidney, the size of a grapefruit on the left side.
I hear you, brother.
Yeah,
I hear you.
but
Damn.
anyway, he flew over that damn thing, and he got a ride with the hurricane guys. They were practicing out there, and they decided to take a little detour. And he said that son of a bitch is unbelievable. He said it has got so much plastic in it. His colonel told him, and the engineer and the NOAA guy said there's going to be more particles of plastic in the ocean by 2050 than there is aquatic life by 2050. They did the calculations on the artificial intelligence, and he saw the readouts, and he didn't believe it. And he went to 4 universities. He's writing a book about it now. He said the plastic particles are so bad, it's going to kill all of the aquatic life, and it's going to be unbelievable. You mentioned plastic earlier. Plastic's in our rice now, our French fries, our mashed potatoes, our hamburgers, everything.
Pole, brother. Hold the pole.
Yeah.
Hold the pole. I want to say one thing about that Trash Island, though. What you're gonna hear, and this just came out the other day, so you may not have heard this yet. They're saying that they had the guys out there trialing the plastic, right? And it's going to make a fuel, makes a biofuel. You're looking at taking a big buck up and turning it into like a bunch of lemons and turning it into some lemonade. It's all looking good. Everything, they're pulling it out. Oh, but they're killing this new forms of aquatic life that have grown and turned this into their home.
Right,
that's going to be turned into an environmental disaster to get rid of an environmental disaster. What the fuck? See, that's how they got. You gotta watch that shit. But if you look that up when we get off of this.
And now some
idiot. The size of America. It's the size of America.
Now some idiot scientists are coming along saying that we need to turn it into a natural environment, the trash pile, since our fucking coral reefs are dying. Since our coral reefs are dying, we need to let these other animals get evolved into the trash pile. I'm like, you guys are smoking some kind of really weird weed.
And real. And it's the thing that they're calling the life out there, where they're destroying the life when they get to plastic, because it's something, and the name sounds good, but it's a fucking amoeba. And it's like, what, you got an old blue bottle, and you saw an amoeba living on it and having babies. Wow, get the fuck out of here. No, that's how they said we're not going to do this. Big Oil runs the fuel part of this show, but they're under China now, so I don't know what's going on with that. China runs their infrastructure off coal seam gas. And they have the largest coal seam bed, the second largest coal seam bed in the world, and they haven't ever touched it. But they're getting it from the Appalachian Mountains. They leased that area and did the mountaintop removal in 2017. And I was living there in West Virginia and saw this. So.
Bill, what is your opinion, Bill, on our landfills are so terrible here in the United States? They're so full. I've talked to several management people that I know from my daddy's, old as my daddy was. And they've been in the business 35, 40 years. They said it's getting so bad now. They got people coming in saying, well, we're going to take the trash and we're going to turn it into power, free energy. We're going to turn it into power. what's your opinion on taking the trash and converting it into geothermal power?
This right here is a 1938 ball made called a 10 pail jar. 1938. 1938. All right, I'm still using it. We stop what we're doing. We stop right fucking now what we're doing. This is bullshit. This is bullshit. And I know it. I'm a part of it, so I'm not being a hypocrite.
Right.
The only way to stop, there's nothing you can turn that into except for that plastic biofuel that that's what they use soybean and corn for now. I'm in Kentucky, and all these fields are Chinese soybean and Chinese corn, the type of fuel and plastic. Because they got the world's largest cracker plant over there, and the cracker plants make plastic. The plastic they're making now would never go nowhere anyway. It does not have a second use. So where did that thinking go?
Yeah.
We got third world countries down there that we sold our trash to, and they covered their country, and they finally said, fuck this, and they pushed it off into the Atlantic and into the Caribbean. The Sargasso Sea Road. Like if you took a bunch of Coke bottles, people say that don't change nothing. The oceans ain't warming up because of trash. Okay, go cover the top of your swimming pool with Coke bottles, like plastic Coke bottles.
Yeah.
All right, and just let it go one day. Move the Coke bottles and go jump in that pool after sundown. That water's gonna be hot as fucking hell. I mean, it's gonna be bearable. It's not gonna boil you, but you know what I'm saying? Because it traps it. You don't get the oxygen release from there. So that's bullshit. So look at the Pacific, which has actually a guy that lives up there in Oregon. He's 90-something years old. He's one of the oldest marine biologists. His whole life has been spent taking slime off the bottom of the Pacific Ocean all the way around it. 90 man's in his 90s. He's still working, by the way. Actually, wow, talk about loving your job. But he said, well, the average ratio would be about 1% slime on the seafloor. The slime represents the dead things that the fish and other things didn't eat. So like the leftovers from carcasses and stuff, it comes into this like weird slime, the salt water, whatever the pressure.
Yeah.
Well, now it's 99% of the seafloor is covered with it. If 1% of the seafloor was covered with that in the Pacific or any other ocean, that's their determination. That's their indicator for how much sea life there is. It's got almost the whole Pacific covered. So that's telling me there's hardly anything in there. The walruses and the seals that live up in San Francisco and the walruses up in Alaska, they're covered in tumors. But have you noticed the Navy ships? They don't even go past Hawaii anymore. They're not allowed to. It strips the fucking paint off of it. Wow, I've done a little scraping and painting in my day, and that's some tough ass paint. And then you look at the fact that not just that, they're not allowed to send pictures anymore home from the carriers or the battle groups. Which when I was in the Navy, we didn't have cell phones. You didn't have to worry about that shit. You were too worried about running that ship, And the Carl Vinson was a brand new ship. That's why I know a lot about shipping and painting, because we were going over contractor stuff and all that, But they could go through the ocean, and it's so radioactive, not polluted like with anything else, that it strips that paint off. Now, I'm not so sure if they haven't fixed the paint problem, but the water problem damn sure wasn't fixed.
No.
They said in 2011 when that happened, started in March, it dumped so much out. When it got to one point, I believe, probably towards around June or something, right at the beginning of summer, about this time in 2011, that they said we just killed the world. The last time that happened, the Russians had opened. It was called the Gates of Hell in Kazakhstan, Russia. They were fracking. This is back in the 60s, and Halliburton gave up on fracking. They said this is too dangerous. But the Russians or Soviets, they do what they want, and they wound up hitting a methane pocket that was so big that it was extinction level. And they didn't know what to do. It was an extinction level event. And they pretty much wasn't going to sit there right then and say, well, we're going to tell the world, you kiss your ass goodbye because we just killed y'all. And like nowadays, we got the nice grass and stuff from all the satellites so we can see things. But we didn't have that back then. But they didn't know what to do, so they lit it up. And it's still burning today. Like 7 years later, still burning today. So that's why these people should not be in charge of the world. That's why we should definitely have another fuel source. We got to learn that what we were trying to do between 72 and 92 was kind of the right way, but it's more like we got to coexist to exist on this planet. Otherwise, we just are like locusts and we destroy everything, including ourselves, because we just destroyed our life source. To me, I think that's the top of the list. And I also think that these people that we were just talking about that we know are fucking evil and sick. Wow, just fucking evil. How about that? They hate this planet. It's like they're trying to destroy it. So you kind of got to go back to the very original story of creation, and because Anunnaki came here to mine gold to save their planet. But it's almost like we're terraforming this planet for some other life form.
We are.
Because we're blindly and voluntarily killing it.
We are. The Queen of England went to a psychiatrist, very famous psychiatrist, who I am friends with her friend. And the Queen went to her, and they were talking, and the Queen just came out and said they were talking about the world like we are, and about the pollution and all the problems with population and everything. And the psychiatrist started asking her what she thought about population control. And the Queen said, "Oh, we don't have to worry about that." And she said, "What do you mean?" And the Queen said, "We're getting rid of 90% of the population by 2035. All of these air breathers and all of this garbage and these retarded people and alcoholics and drug addicts and all this other trash." And the psychiatrist said, "What did you just say?" She said, "Would you please repeat what you just said?" And she said, "I told you, and last time I'm going to tell you, we're getting rid of 90% of the population by 2035. It is done. Now, thank you. Goodbye." And she walked out of the office, and my friend got interested in this, and her friend got interested in it, and she went to her husband, who's a famous psychiatrist. I'll send you this privately, by the way. They got to digging around and found out about Agenda 21, Agenda 30, Agenda 50. They didn't know anything about it at the time. They got to studying Bill Gates and his father, and they got to studying transhumanism and genocide and depopulation. They closed their business completely, devoted the rest of their life to this. I'll send you the tape. And it's a very interesting interview. And when I send it to you, you're going to know who this person is. I'm not going to tell you here. But I'm going to send you that, and I'm going to send you another top secret document that I have that I've revealed. They might kill me, but I've revealed it on air. I'm going to send that to you. This was a secret meeting that Klaus Schwab held with Davos private group. They have a secret Davos group. Very, very, very secret Davos group. And this thing is unbelievable. What he talks about is literally unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe he actually said the shit that he said in this document. My friend recorded it. The lieutenant colonel recorded it with I'm a former agent, so we have all this micro stuff that we can record with and camera and put, I can read you from 250 yards. I can hear you pee-peeing in the toilet, and I can, but anyway, he recorded all this conversation and sent it to me. I go, "I don't want this. God damn, you're going to try to get me killed." But anyway, it's crazy. It's crazy.
No, and that situation with the Pacific, though, I'm glad that y'all are looking at it like it is, because I just wanted to point out how politicizing things puts an end to anything being done about them. I stepped away way long before they politicized the planet and the health of the planet. I think it was the Deagle report. As they've re-established the Deagle report, the people that do that were former agents, but they don't work for any government. They don't have any pay. Deagle's been used since World War II to assess military power populations, and then they do projections on it. So they tell you how many tanks you got, how many planes they got, how many bombs they got, how many soldiers. Then they also tell you what the GDP is, average income of a person, and then they rank the nations according to that chart. So who's number one? You think USA. Well, no. It's not. It's China. And Russia's moved up, and USA's down about 3 now. The thing is, there'll be 8 by the time 2025 comes around.
Yeah.
Now, they gave the formula for that finally. A lot of this is, it ain't going to be like 99 million people because 250 million people died or killed. They're showing there's going to be a great migration over the reverse migration of what you're seeing now. People leaving the country as they can. This is going to peak. There's also some, they're gambling on some sun activity that would be simple to get away from, but they don't teach that in school anymore. They won't tell anybody anything. You could just get one, a micronova, which won't destroy anything, but like your brain cells or make you radioactive, when you could just go get in a cave or get in your house and be away from it. They could let one of those go by. And I think actually they did here not too long ago. Now the point I'm trying to make is Deagle has been 87% accurate on average since World War II. They're not compromised. Google took them off in 2020 when people I did a video on it. It went viral. Next thing you know, the Deagle population statistics were off the grid.
Yeah.
I thought they were fucking sellouts. They're not a corporation. Like I said, this is a private entity that does what they do with all due respect from all the other countries in the world. This is how everybody kind of knows what's on the playing board, on the playing table. But the main part about it is they also admit that they know, like our CIA agents and stuff like that would lie to them. Russian KGB would lie to them.
Yeah.
Chinese counterintelligence would lie to them. They fudge a few things here and there, but still 87% accurate on projections. The man made a big point of saying they don't do predictions. Well, when they talk about Western civilization, it didn't start 400 years ago or even 200 years ago. It's ancient, and it migrated to this continent.
Yeah.
It's a way of being. I think I described it earlier as, the work by consumed eye. The king only having one skill to manipulate the people into believing he's the king, and they need him. He's going to defend them from enemies, and he's going to make sure they eat. But he never carried a sword, and he never planted a seed, so he's just a bullshitter that's sitting with a crown on his head, like the queen herself. That's all prop up.
Yeah.
But that's the main thing that concerns me, because the death rate has been taken off the World Health Organization's info. And by the way, I was going to say something earlier, in all due respect, the World Health Organization can claim to control what a pandemic is and give guidelines for the world to do. They don't have a one son of a bitch to enforce it. They don't even got what the UN's got. They're only supposed to be there for information. They're not supposed to be there for direction or calling mandates. But now what will happen with all that? Everything happened so far. We've done only because they said do it. They said go home. Everybody went home. They said, oh, by the way, pick up some toilet paper, some vodka, and some hand sanitizer. That's how you'll survive the lockdown. And people went and bought toilet paper, hand sanitizer. Well, no government in the world said do that. The media did.
Yeah.
No government said go even really to go home. The media did.
Yeah.
It was all the power of suggestion. Until we learn to take our minds back and quit acting like fucking kids at school, and that the teacher's the authority figure, the quicker we'll get out of this. Or if we don't get it back, brother, I'm pretty sure you're a realist. It's soon past time to get our heads out of our ass. I'm looking for a miracle. My only hope is in the fact that human behavior, of all the scenarios that they run on their computers, of all the psychiatrists out there that will tell you they don't even know the brain, of all the people that watch us and know our behaviors, we are still the most unpredictable creatures on this planet. My only hope is in our unpredictable nature, that somewhere we turn on them like a pit viper and tear them a new ass, and then get rid of this publicly and never allow it to happen again. But the damage that we've done, I'm really worried about that too. For America, you're looking at the West Coast, so it's 60 million in California. Like that's the most populated state. Yeah. That's radioactive. They're not paying attention to the radio. Like, where are you going to go to the east, where you got Nevada and all that? Well, that's where they tested nuclear weapons. That's radioactive. You see what I'm getting at? Yes. They've got to set up the radioactive where they've allowed that to happen, and they used Fukushima after the Chinese hit that fault line and caused all that shit. The way they're using the radiation is to hide their 5G frequency sickness, because that's radiation, and it's got the same symptoms as the fucking Rona. So you got to really look at things like that. That's the weapon system I worry about. And you notice it goes around the world, just like here's the equator, and it's just a little bit off the equator. And now they're talking about our rotation slowing down.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, it's because all the waves on the west coast are high, and all the seas on the east coast of every continent are lower,
Right.
so higher on the
Right.
west. So that's like we're slowing down, and the water's going. All right, are they doing that, or are they trying to speed it up? Are they trying to stop something? Because I mean, you got to wonder about this. I don't think they are. I think they're megalomaniacs and insane. I think they're,
Yeah.
wow, they're going to laugh when we're hanging them, and we're not even going to feel justice on it. They'll just laugh at us. They're sitting there choking to death. But the point about it is, there's things really happening that are the main center and should be our main focus and the center of attention. And the other things we almost got started on at the beginning of this, that would have taken away from all these really important things. I wouldn't have known that you love the Pacific and you hate that it's dying. I wouldn't have known that Chad's, this thing with the fires on it and with the work that y'all doing, it's gotten to a point to where it is. I wouldn't have found out important information, real news, if we hadn't have talked about it, because you're
Yeah.
there and I'm here. You want to know
Yeah.
something about Kentucky? I'll tell you. Except for there ain't no
Right.
good shine here. You got to go down to Georgia. But I'm just trying to lighten the mood because I know y'all gonna have to get off. So I just wanted to, if I could ever leave you with anything, and I'm saying this in a very brotherly way, and because I respect you boys, I really do. I mean, I got no reason to think that you're not telling the truth about things or looking for these lies. Um, Please take into consideration that the entertainment part of this is the smoke screen, and it's not
Yeah.
about giving them the truth. It's about pointing out these fucking lies and not talking about them like they're real. I always say, you got to have some proof. People used to say, well, send me a link and prove your shit. I'm like, well, I found it. You go find it. Prove me
That's what
wrong.
I. Yeah. I'm
I'm,
sick of. Yeah.
I'm,
That's what I tell them. That's what
well,
I
see,
tell them
that's a
now.
psyop. That's a psyop in itself because you're just making the majority of people doubt, and doubt is that's what they want. They don't want you. You could be for them, or you could be completely against them. They don't give a fuck about that. They want people to doubt because you don't do nothing as the food supply dwindles. As these food processing plants are not being rebuilt because the insurance had them where they couldn't rebuild for a year, while the water supply has gotten no better, and while everybody's eating out of a dollar store that are popping up on everybody's fucking corner at a mile a minute. They got more dollar stores than they got McDonald's, Burger King, and KFC combined. And somebody the other day said you could throw Starbucks in there now. They got more
Yeah.
dollar stores in there. That
Yeah.
takes over the grocery stores. And watch, the first grocery stores to shut down in America, I'm going to predict it, IGA, because IGA is run by the employees. They got stock in it, so they set the prices. So that makes them a little bit higher, but it also makes them the local voice on all their grocery stores. You see what I'm saying? So there'll be probably any independent grocery stores are going to be the first ones to shut down. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. We've got to get ready to get off here. I just want to thank you, Bill, for coming on. I want to thank Kim, and I want to thank Saraya, and I want to thank everyone, Vicky, and everyone in chat. Y'all have been so wonderful, Kim again, and Vicky, and Bo, and my God, everybody here is just fantastic, unbelievable. They love you, Bill. Everybody loves you. Coming from our other channels that I'm monitoring, everybody's just really loves what you've had to say tonight, Bill. And we want to have you back on as soon as we can. And I would like for
Well, thank
Chad to have another. I would like for Chad to have another private conversation with you over the next week or so as to what we really do and behind the scenes. I don't want to talk about it here, but he'll fill you in slowly on who I am and what I've done. And I didn't want to bring it all up tonight. I wanted to give the show to you tonight, and that's what I did. I honored you with that. I love you, man, and I thank you.
I appreciate
I,
that. I appreciate that.
yeah, I just want you
Next
to
time they
know
let
that
Chad talk, huh?
we're. I just wanted you to know that we are working really, really, really hard behind the scenes and doing a lot of really interesting things that I can't talk about here. But many of my fans know me personally and they know who I am. Chad knows what we're doing up here, but I just can't talk about it here. You know what I mean? But you take care, and we love all of you in chat. Please share the show, y'all. Please, please share the show and bring folks in. We're starting this new station, Chad and I, after 5,000 plus shows. We're having to kind of start over, and it hurts. It really hurts, but we had to do it. in order to expand, we had to do it. We didn't have the expansion powers where we were, and we have the expansion powers here. So we're having to kind of start over. So please help us by sharing the show and getting people here. And we're going to have Bill back on as soon as we can. You guys take care, and remember, whatever you vividly imagine, ardently desire, and enthusiastically act upon will come to pass from the quantum field. It's there to be manifested through visualization and practice and focus, ladies and gentlemen. Just focus, okay? And like Bill said, we don't need people in fear. We don't need people running away from this fictional authority. We need people to take that first step forward and put their chest out and fight this dragon. Stop feeding the damn beast. Stop feeding the beast. Stop consenting. Stop giving in. And let's run over this motherfucker and let's kill it and let's cut the goddamn head of the snake off. Y'all take care until tomorrow night. We love you. Bye bye.